I'm in the Amazon jungle. Come on. How cool is this, right? I'm in the Amazon jungle on the Quarantine River, bordered by Suriname on one side and Guyana on the other. This is an area that has a lot of emerald tree boas, Amazon tree boas, all kinds of snakes, and it's also an area that's highly trafficked. By that, I mean that any workers that come through, whether they're loggers or miners or hunters, trappers, will take these animals because they're worth a lot of money. So what we're doing this week is finding as many emerald tree boas, Amazon tree boas, and anything else that might be trafficked. We're gathering them up and bringing them deeper into the jungle so that hopefully those individuals can live a life of freedom in their natural habitat.
I think it's important that you know that it's legal to do this. For these trappers and hunters to trap these animals and export them to the US or the UK is perfectly legal. The problem is that a lot of times the animals don't survive the trip, or they end up at their destination in really bad shape. So we're just out here saving some individuals if we can. Now check out this sort of non sequitur of the sound of howler monkeys.
So I came on this trip with Amy Benzie, who happens to be in her hammock sleeping right now. But you can find her at Happy Basins on Instagram, and she's the one who organizes these trips because she has all the contacts here to make everything happen. And we come down with Mark, who is an ex-trapper and now a conservationist who does these tours with Emerald Tours. And you're going to see a really unique way that he figured out how to gather these snakes out of the trees. This is basically arboreal snake herping, which is really hard to do because what a lot of people do is climb the tree, or they're trying to use a noose or something like that. So you're going to see an interesting way that Mark invented that gets these snakes out of the trees. And we're doing this in the middle of the night because that's when you find these snakes out and about. We also have to do it during a new moon. So we want the moon as small as possible so it's as dark as possible. Otherwise, if it's a full moon out, you're not going to see those snakes. So you've got to go at a very specific time, and we're spending all night hunting. We're leaving at about 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and we come home at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So here we go. Let's just do it. Oh, his tail's got a chunk of that tail is gone. So this is how we catch snakes. We're on the river right now, going very slowly, shining our lights up into the trees. We've got Mark up front, who is great at spotting snakes. I've got my flashlight that I'm using to light my face right now. But we're not traipsing through the jungle. We're not tripping over things and running from jaguars. We're just having a nice little boat trip and finding snakes in the trees. It's great. So we have a lovely emerald right up there. Beautiful one. We're going to try to get him. We have very long poles. We're going to try to get that guy down.
You can leave out the word try.
Okay, all right. We're going to get him down. Amy says we're going to, and I believe her. Yeah.
I want you guys to just shine around. Not there. Shine somewhere there, up in the tree, and there's another one there.
Oh, you're telling us that you found another emerald?
Yes, there's another emerald in the vicinity. But on another tree in front there. You shine. I'm not going to shine. You got to try and find
On
it.
another tree. All right.
Try and identify it.
Right there.
Uh-huh.
Well, nice.
Right there.
Holding on. Go. You got him. Get the head. Okay. Nice.
Great job.
Did you get me?
I got you, Amy. Look at that. That's our first emerald.
We can get the animal off.
Oh my God, he's huge.
Second one of the night.
I'm a little scared here.
He's a big one.
Bit. The head is there.
Here. Can you lower that down just a little
Yes, I'm trying.
Okay.
Good. All to you now. Good. Lovely. You're amazing. Go press the.
Sorry, I was holding on to that
I
pole.
know.
This is only our first day, and we already have 2 emerald tree boas. And that's thanks to Mark, who is an expert at finding these snakes. It's amazing how he can spot emerald or cooks, what they call cooks, which is an Amazon tree boa to us. He can spot them from a mile away, which is incredible. But what we're doing is we're in an area that has a lot of traffic from hunters, fishermen, miners, loggers, and anybody who knows the value of an emerald will take it because it's worth about 3 days' wages for a middle-class worker. And so what we're doing is just taking the ones that we can find and the individuals that we can find. We're hoping that we can move them down in a different waterway, something that's not as highly trafficked, so that these particular animals at least get the best chance of spending the rest of their life in the jungle. It's a beautiful Amazon tree boa. This is a lighter one. Would this be considered a color?
No.
It's just sometimes they're lighter.
Yes.
Hi, buddy. There we go. Let's get you in the water really quick. Okay. Nice job. Okay, do we have a bag?
It's right here.
I can't see anything because of the flashlight.
Oh, look. Sorry, I have to shine it on your face.
I know. Sorry.
The light's in his face for your guys' viewing pleasure.
That's right. Hey, thanks for not biting me yet. I'm going to say yet. Excuse me, can we get you in the bag? Look at you. Look how handsome you are.
I just want to say sorry, Kent, you might lose your job because this videography is amazing.
You're doing a great job. For those of you who are thinking, oh man, I really want to do that trip, or no way, I would never do that, I couldn't do it. I'll give you a taste of sort of what it's like. You know, we're herping for arboreal snakes, and you don't have to if you go on a trip like this, because these guys that we're with can find anything, from all sorts of reptiles to sloths and monkeys, whatever you want. But when you herp for arboreal snakes, at least on the Quarantine River here, you do it via boat. So you go out at night and you sit on a boat and you look for snakes. It's so much easier than walking through the forest. So that's pretty convenient. But we're also not staying in a resort. We're not even staying in primitive cabins. We are slinging hammocks between trees and sleeping in our hammocks literally in the jungle. So I love doing that because I like camping and that's fun for me, but some people don't like roughing it like that. So our accommodations are a little bit rough, but if you come here looking for arboreal snakes, it's the easiest kind of herping. You don't get tired. It's a nice boat ride. It's great. So Mark, you heard me talking about that just then, and you were starting to tell me why we do it this way.
Yeah, well, why I prefer doing whatever tourism this way, I call it ecotourism. It's like going back to basic. It's not like there's much luxury. There is, well, a camp frame that in case it rains, and we always have tarps that we put it over the frame so that you don't get wet. But it's not much of luxury. We do things very back to basic, like tying a hammock, and if it's possible, you just tie in the open where you see all the trees over you and the birds and the monkeys and whatever animal comes around. You can see them easily, and they won't get distracted too by too much of, let's say, the modern stuff like light. We do have light at night during the night time, and
but not lights of a town or a village or something, right?
And there is not always the tarp on the frame of the camp, so to kind of distract these animals. It's very much natural.
You're a bushman. You've spent years and years out in the bush, and this is the way you would do it. Even if you weren't taking eco-tourists, right? You would bring a hammock out, and this is how you would do it.
That's the way we've been doing it for years when we were like hunting and fishing for our living.
Right.
That's the way we did it. And so I want to just continue that. I'm hoping to continue that system with the tourist.
We're going to talk more about that, about you starting off as you were a hunter ecotourism.com/fisherman, and now you're a eco-tourist guide. So we're going to talk more about that in another interview. Just got here, this little guy.
So cute. Put him in your beard.
I'm not going to put him in my beard.
He lets you do.
Okay, I'm going to let him go.
Okay.
All right, here you go, buddy.
It's going away, so you gotta act fast. Good.
Nice.
That's it. I see the last try was more like, you were more decisive.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There, buddy. Okay.
It stands on the branch there, right? So it's
Mhm.
onto the branch.
Yep. Which is great because that's...
Can you push that stick back?
Stick lower. Yeah, good.
Okay. All right. So the first time I saw this technique being used... Hey, don't bite my shirt. That's my shirt. First time I saw this technique being used, I thought, wow, that's kind of aggressive. But it actually... This is a thing that Mark invented as a way to get these arboreal snakes out of the trees. And it's actually much safer than how many trappers do it, where they're working with the snake's neck and using a noose and really this, hey, don't do that. The snake gets injured a lot of times. Mark's been doing this for decades. And Mark, have you ever had a snake injured as a result of these?
Never. Never got that. No.
Yeah, because it's like, oh yeah, let's just let you do this. Let you do your thing. There you go. I'm gonna rinse you off. Oh, okay. So it's actually pretty safe. The snakes do really well, and we can get them out of the trees and get them to a safer area. All right, let's put this guy. Oh, look at him. Look at him. He just got a fresh wipe off. My arm now is piranha bait, basically. Yeah, because I got to wash it off still.
Oh my gosh, you're crazy. I can't believe you're doing that.
We found a native jungle species, the bushman, in his home environment. So, Mark, you're our amazing guide for this trip.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you started off, you spent many years as a hunter-trapper. That's how you made your money, right?
That is true.
Which is how a lot of people make their money in Apura.
Yes. It's a form of income for a lot of people indeed.
Yeah, yeah. And then you changed from that to basically being a conservationist.
Yes.
Right? What made you change?
To begin with, I have always been a conservationist. Always. Even when I was a kid, maybe I didn't realize it then, but I was always interested into knowing the birds, the snakes, the animals. But as you get older and you face up with life and you have to provide, especially when you get a wife and kids, a family, you have to provide.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very easy way of providing for the family. Getting meat and getting fish and getting the snakes. You sell them.
Mm-hmm.
Piece of time I used to buy animals like birds and other things too. I used to even buy the snakes and sell them back to exporters. I was like a middleman.
Yeah. Like your brother is.
Like my brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I think it's wonderful that you've done that. But I also realize that it wouldn't be practical for everyone who's a hunter-trapper in Apura to make their money as a conservationist. Using the resources that are in the jungle, hunting, selling the meat, things like that. That seems to be the best way for multiple people to make money.
Well, I would like for that to stop, or at least if the shooting of the animal can just be minimal for family use. It's traditional that the people use. They're accustomed to use to kill a meat, to go in the bush, take a meat, and I would like if it can come back to that. But I do understand that life is tough, life is rough, and you have to keep your head above water. But if there can come a system that tourists would come, eco-tourists could come, who are interested in seeing the nature, seeing the animals, the flora and the fauna, and they can come on a steady base. I think a lot of those hunters, professional hunters and fishers, especially hunters, I think they would get a living from their knowledge that they have acquired, just like I've done through the years of hunting and moving in the forest and moving in the on the river.
It's amazing what you do, because not everybody could do that. You couldn't be a tourist and show up and take your own boat and go find snakes like that. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah, so well, coming back to the part of being the conservationist, I was always that before. So eventually I started to detest the killing of the animals, the catching of the birds, and whatever the whole thing is. I developed a kind of feelings that no, I think they have the right to live free, just the way I would like to be free. And so I started to easily stop and try to do other things. I started to do like, just around my home I would start to do like gardening and so, and it helps a lot. So and I would like to, if there would come a day that the tourists can also help the hunters just by coming and giving them work to do, and that they could stop the hunting and the fishing for commercial purposes. I would love to have that.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
This snake that Mark just caught took forever to get out of a tree, and then it escaped. So Mark hopped off the boat and scaled an almost 90-degree cliff to catch it by hand.
Mark, that was really impressive. So, Mark, while you're doing that, can you tell me the difference in the behavior of these colored cooks versus the normal ones?
Well, what I've observed through the years is that the colored one, they try to get away much faster. I don't know why. And one way of getting away is just to lose themselves straight down into the water. And this is our first colored one since we've been searching for snakes since you're here. And that's about the third night. This is our first colored, and we see the difference in the behavior. It was just trying to get away.
Right, and the normal ones don't do that. They don't straighten their body and drop.
The one doesn't do that, or let's say rarely does that. Like straightening their body and shooting down like an arrow into the water, or trying to get away very fast. They don't really do that.
And then we had an incredible sighting. This is something that many people come to the Amazon jungle specifically to find, but oftentimes never do.
You feel me? Gone.
We just saw a jaguar. That's a rare sighting. They haven't seen one in a long time. Amy's been here, how many times, Amy?
Seventh time.
7 times, and this is the first time she's seen a jaguar. It was really exciting. That cat turned around and came back towards us because Mark was doing it. Mark, what was that whistling you were doing?
Whistling as if like when a agouti is in distress.
Like when some animal is in distress?
Yeah, an agouti.
Agouti?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but that's okay.
Bush rabbit.
Mark knows all these calls.
Bush rabbit.
A bush rabbit. Okay. Anyway, that was super exciting.
Hey everybody, Future Bob here to quickly acknowledge the incredible help that the Patreon supporters give. If it weren't for these supporters on Patreon, you would not be seeing videos of me in the Amazon jungle. I feel so fortunate that I was able to get over there and work with these snakes. And because of the people on these boards, I'm going to do it again. That's right, because you're watching Future Bob, I can confirm that on March 1st, I'm headed back to the Amazon jungle. And since Dave's already mentioned it, I can say that Dave Kaufman's coming with me. Anyway, the Green Room Pythons Patreon is set up to give people extra content, extra tangible stuff, and community through Discord and Zoom parties that we do. And there's kind of a Discord chat thing now on Patreon itself. If you're interested in being part of that community, patreon.com/greenroompythons. There's 4 tier levels that give you different things, and you can join for free. There's a free level that you can just be a free Patreon subscriber, or you can join for a week on a couple of the tiers that we already have. So thank you so much to these people that are making this trip happen, the last trip happen, and probably future trips happen. All right, let's get back to the video. Nope, I almost forgot this board. These are our channel sponsors, and they are a big help. and extremely important. So check out those discount codes. Big thanks to Black Box Cages, Lane Labs, and Gray Family Snakes. Now let's get back to the video. Look at this big, beautiful emerald. This is a really big, probably mama. Oh, look at those teeth. I definitely don't want those teeth in me. But we took this animal off the banks of the Quarantine River, where she was in an area that's really heavily trafficked, as you know. That's what we're doing. And if we hadn't seen her, one of the trappers surely would have. And who knows how old this animal is, but she would have spent a long time in transit coming to either the United States or the UK, maybe, something like that. And then maybe wouldn't do well as a captive. So this is one of two that we got. We actually got less animals this time than Amy's used to getting. I mean, less emeralds than Amy's used to getting. And that's because we're in the dry season right now and there is less. But even in the dry season, we still saw a ton of snakes and a ton of other animals. We got a bunch of snakes. And in March, you might see some videos from me during the wet season. Stay tuned for that. If my plans work out right, I might be coming back in the wet season. And here they both are. These are the two emeralds that we got along the river. And we're bringing them. Man, I hope we find a good hiding spot. I think we will. Just unbelievably beautiful animals. I can't get over the beauty of these. Here are a bunch of the Amazon tree boas that we got. They're just all over the place. They're in all sorts of trees. They're everywhere you go. And this is probably half of the ones that we got. We were going to try to hold all of them at once, and Amy probably will because she insists upon it. But there's no shortage of these, for sure. This one has a stub tail. Look at that.
I dreamed about a stub tail last night.
Did you really?
I seriously did.
I'm putting this one back in the water. This yellow one has been doing a behavior that I've only seen with vine snakes, and that is sticking his tongue out and holding it out, just holding it still. He's not doing it right now, but he's done it several times, and I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know if that's getting so much scent particles on his tongue at once, and then he draws it into his mouth and figures out what's around, but vine snakes do it constantly, and I've never seen a boa do it, but it's been pretty interesting watching this little guy. Quick tip for those of you who are building bioactive enclosures for your jungle animals. I've been here for over a week and I haven't seen dirt. It's all leaves. Get that leaf litter going in your enclosures. Look at that. This whole area needs a leaf blower. So I want to mention that Emerald Tours is not sponsoring these videos, but Amy Blvd is a friend of mine and she helped start this company, and she's actually providing some jobs to people in Apura that, you know, her contacts there that come out on these tours with us. And I think it's a great concept for a business. So if you're interested in potentially coming out to Suriname and doing this, get a hold of her on Happy Basins on Instagram. There's also, I believe, an Emerald Tours Facebook page that I'll cut in here, whatever that is, I'll put at the bottom of the screen. Arboreal herping is amazing. It's really incredible. You don't have to do that if you do a trip with Emerald Tours. You can kind of do whatever you want. If you want to go see sloths, they'll take you to see sloths, or they'll take you fishing, or whatever you want. But if you're into snakes and you want to do some arboreal herping from a boat, it's great. It's fantastic.
You might be wondering what we're going to do with these snakes that we caught, and that's going to be in next week's video. It's going to be finding the best places to release them away from where trappers typically go. So look out for that next week. Also, where did we come up with this little emerald tree boa? You'll see that in next week's video as well. Thanks for watching. See you next week.